channel about how everything is so conflicting in terms of the information that you have. How do we solve this? So, first of all, let's imagine a drawing of a I don't like that color. Let me choose another color besides red. We're going to choose black. So, let's imagine we have a balloon, right? This is a balloon and it's just sitting up in the air. And let's imagine that some air pushes the balloon this way. But there's also air pushing the balloon this way, and this way, and this way, and you get what I'm trying to say. You have all these things pushing the balloon this way and that way, and in reality, really when you put these all together, the balloon's just gonna be moving back and forth. It's not really making any progress because as soon as it's pushed this way, another force pushes it another way. Now imagine if the balloon just went this way. What do you think's going to happen? It's not going to move back and forth in the same position. It's going to keep going. It's going to keep going forward. It's going to keep moving. This is what we're trying to emulate here. Because a lot of the times people will fill up their time with all this information, trying to consume information because they think they don't have the right information. They think that they don't understand. Even though realistically, most people, once they get into trying to figure out what's the best approach for this and the best approach for that, most of the time they already have the answer. It's just a limited belief because you feel like more is better, and you feel like if you just constantly keep filling up your time trying to optimize things, that you're going to be like in the best condition possible. This isn't necessarily wrong, but it's only whenever you actually need to improve. Like let's take let's take lifting for instance, right? Let's imagine you're lifting. You have a lifting routine. You understand that really you only need a few like key movements to really build muscle. You need your like your bench press, your squat, your deadlift, your bent over rows, like really like just a couple of like really essential exercises. And instead of you just sticking with them, instead of you actually just sticking with the program, even though you know that it's right for you, and even though that you know that it's going to be good for you, you go on YouTube and you watch these videos that say, "Oh, bent over rows are actually trash. Do this instead," and then you end up looking at three different variations of something that is honestly like no more effective as bent over rows. You see the problem here, and you probably relate to this because you probably have done this before. You probably see it not only in your fitness, but also just in things in general, in business ideas to pursue when it comes to what kind of diet should you follow, the best way to approach a girl. Like it's these sort of things where it's like they're so conflicting, and this is why you really need to limit the inputs. This is how Hamza says it. You need to limit the amount of inputs that you put inside. So think of it as this balloon example. This is literally limiting inputs. So instead of you going all these different directions, figuring out, oh well, they said this is bad, but they said that that's actually worse. They say that this is the best idea, and this, like, you're not going to move anywhere. You're going to be stuck in analysis paralysis, to where you continuously keep on trying to analyze things. You keep on trying to figure out what's the best way to do it, even though realistically you probably do have a good idea. It's probably in like in the back of your head that you honestly know, like you think about it quite often, yet you continue to try to avoid it because you feel like it's not good enough because you saw somebody who made a video saying that idea is actually trash. You got to stop having this sort of approach. Obviously, there's things that are better than other things, but the biggest thing is really sticking with something. You want to try to be this balloon that even though you only have one way that you're going somewhere. You're not this one balloon who's going back and forth in the same spot. One of the best ways to actually do this is simply turning off your brain. So this goes into almost like discipline in a sense. When there's going to be times where like you really have some disbelief and you are trying to pursue something, but then you have disbelief and you have times where like you're not making as much progress as you did before, or it's really underwhelming. You have to simply turn off your brain, to be honest with you. Like for instance, I used to have a really big problem, and I still I'm not saying I'm immune to this. I used to have a problem when it came to taking cold showers because obviously if you've ever taken a really cold shower, it's really tough. Like it's it's like the hardest part of it is not when you're actually in the cold shower, but rather whenever you're trying to work up to go inside of the cold shower. Because you're trying to like make your body because you're trying to like make your body convince your body that okay, I'm going to go in the cold shower, and your mind's going to tell you all these different things because I'm a believer that your brain a lot of the times doesn't really want to help you, but rather just keep you comfortable. So, whenever you're trying to take this cold shower, a lot of the times you have to stop listening to your brain because your brain has not led you to a really beneficial position. Like, let's think about it. You're listening to the same brain that told you it's okay to lay down and waste your day away because you're relaxing. Do you really want to listen to that same brain that has kept you in the same position, not making any progress at all? Obviously not. Like, if there's anything you should know is that you probably want to listen to like somebody who has what you have. But this goes back to the whole limit the content thing. Don't try to look at 15 different influencers for like lifting weights because this is not going to help you at all. Because you're going to end up being this balloon that goes back and forth, not really making any progress and moving that much at all because you're constantly trying to move this because you're constantly trying to implement these different types of things. So turning off your brain is definitely an excellent way of actually limiting your input and just sticking with what you know. So I actually learned this. I think I spoke about this before. I learned this in a book I'm reading. It's called Relentless. It's on my shelf. I'm not going to go grab it. But he talks a lot about how like your mind has a lot of limited beliefs naturally because this is partially due to like how the school system is, the environment that you grow up around. You have all these limited beliefs that you just kind of you shouldn't do it and that you can't do it. But whenever you just like turn off your brain and stop listening to it for like terrible advice, like your brain does not offer you good advice. You wouldn't be stuck in this situation if it offered you really meaningful advice. So actually turning off your brain and just doing it, like just go for it. Like if you have to go take a cold shower, stop thinking about like, oh, well, it's bad for this or oh that. You know a cold shower is good for you. You know why you're taking a cold shower. Don't let your brain convince you otherwise that taking a cold shower right now would not be good. Like don't make this mistake because so many people make this mistake that they get stuck in analysis paralysis and I have been in this position where you are trying to find the best way to implement this habit, but then you see somebody else saying that that habit's bad, just stop watching so much of this content. And I'm even telling you this for my own content. You already have the tools. Most likely, you probably already possess the tools to actually make progress. Like I like to think of it, I spoke about it in a video, is it's like steps. So obviously, like okay, let's say you're right here, right? You're on this first step. Let's make another step for this. Let's say you're right here. So obviously, to get to this step, you have to have a certain amount of requirements. Let's think of like video games like a level system. So you have to have a certain amount of you have a certain amount of skill to be able to go to this step, right? So this is where you can start to have like a bit of like research and a bit of content to be able to actually get you there. This could be in the form of reading books, watching YouTube and stuff. It's just ways to actually improve your overall knowledge. So once you have enough, instead of continuously trying to figure out the best ways for this, that, just try to get the stuff that you know is essential. Because normally, if you've been watching all of these YouTube videos, you probably already understand what you have to do to actually get to where you want to go. Like, obviously, you want to do a pull up. Okay, you do research, you figure out to do a pull up, you have to do negatives, you have to do some dead hangs, you have to do some other back and bicep exercises to build the strength up. And instead of you continuously like trying to figure out like the best way to do pull ups, and instead you just focus on a few essential things, then you'll get to one pull up. You'll be able to do a pull up. And then you figure out like you want to do more pull ups, obviously, because you don't want to just do one pull up. And then you try to do more, and you start learning how to do more pull-ups. Then you want to start learning how to do weighted pull-ups. That's another step. And then you start to go on, and it's a level system. Let's imagine like you're not going to be able to actually level up and go to the next stage if you're continuously just staying in the same spot trying to figure out the best way. This is analysis paralysis. This is the thing that genuinely kills people. Like, it kills people's purpose and their goals. You don't want that to happen to you. You're probably somebody who seriously wants to reach your goals, whether it be fitness, whether it be your business, it doesn't matter. Your goals that you have in mind, you want to reach these points, but you're so caught up with trying to figure out the best way instead of just doing the work. You know what, like almost every single dating guru will tell you about, like when it comes to like the best way to like actually talk to a girl, is just go up to somebody and talk to them. It's not like really like people who know what they're talking about. They're not going to tell you, "Oh, well, you want to like try to do this way, you want to try to like be mysterious and like all these like different things." The best way is just to go up and just go talk to a girl. The best way to start getting big is to go to the gym instead of sitting at your house trying to figure out the best exercises to do at the gym. Content and research is essential for actually like making progress, obviously. But don't let it get to a point where that's all you're doing. You're doing more research than you're actually doing your actions. Because this is where it's going to keep you at this same level. It's not going to help you level up. Leveling up requires more action than research. You're going to do a lot of research, but then after you're done and you seriously wrote down and know what you're going to do, you're not going to consume any more content, because any more content after whenever you're about to go do action, it's just going to make you turn one way, and then you're going to end up doing a complete 180 to what you were originally doing, and you're just not going to go anywhere with it. I'll tell you an example from my own experience. Whenever I first started working out, I used to do like really like high volume, like a bit like medium intensity. Like it was like, those arbitrary like 3 sets of 12 stuff. Originally, this is what I did, and I stuck with it, but I kept like putting in different exercises. Like my leg day, I would switch from doing leg press, and then I would do squats, and then I tried doing RDLs, and then I tried to do leg extensions and leg press again. You're making it too complicated for yourself. Stop trying to optimize your training. It was whenever I just thought, okay, what do I seriously need to hit my muscles, and what is like the most effective way to hit my muscles? And then I started figuring out like, okay, for my leg days, all I really need is like a really good squat and a really good RDL. And what I learned from this actually was that like not only did like my gains like exploded a lot more, and I also lift much more weights when I did this, but I also, the biggest thing was also just learning more of the movements. Like everyone tries to squat, but nobody actually like spends the time to like try to learn how to like seriously get the best like squat form. So for exercises, obviously, it's not just the person who can lift 40 pounds like for bicep curls, but it's the one who can like clean lift 40 pounds. Like they actually are activating the muscles, because a lot of the times if you've been lifting weights, that some muscle, that like when you're doing something like pull-ups, if you're not doing it with the correct form and the correct movement, that you could be working out more of your arms or like more of your shoulders than your actual back, which is probably what you're doing it for. So actually spending time, like let's say you're lifting, like this is a perfect example. Instead of trying to figure out like these like five different exercises for like your arms, look at the like a really essential ones and like really try to learn it and spend some time just like only doing that. Like this is why I have it on my wall is just I have like a piece of paper on my wall that just says limit input because if you simply just stop putting all this crap inside of your head constantly and just stick with something, then this is where your progress is actually going to explode and you're actually going to make results in the things that you do. So your actionable step, if you're exercising, which if you're watching this channel, you probably are like somebody with fitness. I think I've talked about this before, but simply like start making your workouts like more simplified and stop trying to change it. You're doing back day, start doing like a few back exercises, but really get the feel of them. Actually get to learn how to do the form right and how to actually feel the contraction. And you're almost going to feel like you're walking backwards because everyone's always implementing all these different things and people keep thinking more is better and these multitasking. Stop. I can almost certainly guarantee you that the ones who have actually made the most amount of progress are the ones who have simply stayed with the thing that they're doing and stopped like shifting to one way or another. It's the ones who have actually sat down and gone back to the same things. The thing that Sam Ovens says all the time that it's the ones who just consistently go to the same thing every single day. They keep showing up and then eventually this is when they actually make progress is whenever they just keep showing up to the same things every single day on the days you don't feel like it, on the days you do, and you actually just stick with it instead of like always shifting, trying to figure out the best approach for this. So that's all I have for you. If you want a one-on-one like fitness call to help you out with your fitness, because when it comes to building like a fitness program and also a dieting plan, it's pretty tough to do it alone. So in the description, you can check it out. I have a one-on-one fitness call to help you and you design like your own fitness program and for me to actually coach you along the way. That's all I have for you, man. Woo.